All right, so we're here with Billy Briscoe here at the Hardknocks Boxing Academy at Queen and Dufferin here in Toronto, Ontario. Billy, you're obviously you're a renowned trainer from Philadelphia. What brings you to Toronto?
Well, you know, my man Lee Back's a good friend of mine. He manages fighters. He bunged me. He asked me to come up here and help him, you know, establish the gym and work with some of his fighters. And I thought it was a good idea. You know, got to try to bring some world-class boxing back to Toronto and help some of these guys out.
In particular, you're working with Sammy Vargas, who we just saw on NBC not too long ago. Sammy seems to have that Philly mentality. You know, he wants to get in there, he wants to brawl. How are things coming along with that relationship? Because I know you guys have only been working together for just a little while now.
It's coming along pretty good. I bung him, you know, it's funny because the first time I worked with him in Philadelphia in my gym, he was doing pretty. I said, you know what, this kid got potential, but it's untapped. He's raw, you know, but he wants to learn. He's got guts, you know, everything else we could work on. And I've been working with him slowly but surely. I think we're like 4-1 together. Because the one fight being Spence, but what people fail to realize is he took the fight on 16 days' notice and had to lose 19 pounds, you know. And well, he did it because, you know, he's a fighter and he'll fight anybody, you know. But he's definitely a quality product. He can be molded. It's going to take a little bit of time. You know, boxing parallels life. Nothing worth having comes overnight. So we'll get it.
Now, obviously, you're here in Toronto. You mentioned, you know, there's a lack of world-class training here in Toronto, and I think in Canada in general. Did you notice that there was kind of an empty market that maybe you could fill? Is that part of the reason why you felt like relocating here might not be a bad idea?
Well, no, I know there's world-class training in Canada, especially in Montreal, because my man Russ Amber, that's my buddy. He's the real deal. Russ is the man. Mark Ramsey's very, very good. There's a few other guys. But no, in Toronto here, I came up here because, you know, Lee Baxter asked me if I would be willing to come up here and try to help, you know, bring some world-class professional boxing back to Toronto, because we're going to start promoting shows, too. He's got a date in August, the second week of August. He's going to do professional shows. And we're going to try to, you know, build like a farm system which could bring these kids up. Because Toronto's got a very good amateur program. I've been around, I've seen it. They got some very good amateur program. But they really don't have that stage where they can be showcased as professionals, and that's where I believe Lee Baxter will come in at, where, you know, his management and his connections in the industry can take these kids, you know, to a nice spot.
Now, you know, we've had the chance to kind of poke around the gym with you a little bit, but, you know, you always talk about the old school philosophy of boxing training, and this is kind of a loaded question, but in general, what do you think today's trainers are missing that the old school trainers were able to provide for their fighters?
Well, there's still some good teachers. Like in Philadelphia, we got 27 active boxing gyms, and that's just active boxing. That's not like private gyms and MMA gyms that offer boxing programs or fitness programs and things like that. But in a lot of other locations, there's not as many teachers, if you will. There's a lot of gyms and trainers, but there's not too many teachers in schools left. You know, the art and science of teaching boxing is unfortunately becoming a lost art, because a lot of the old-timers that had all that knowledge, and most people didn't want to latch on and grab that knowledge and bring it back into this generation. You know, like I was fortunate to study with the great Mr. Wesley Mozart, McGavin Soul, since I was a little kid, and then I started training professional fighters at 15 as an apprentice, because you got to learn your craft. It's like a carpenter. I don't go to the Home Depot, buy a nail gun, chop saw, and a couple other tools to show up to a job site and say, hey man, I'm a carpenter. They said, no, you're not. You know what I mean? It takes 4 years apprenticeship in the union, and it takes a hell of a lot longer to be a great teacher, excuse me. And, you know, the old timers really knew how to teach boxing, and it wasn't so big in strength and conditioning. I'm not talking nothing bad about strength and conditioning, but the great Joe Louis didn't have it. The great Sugar Ray Robinson didn't have it. Henry Armstrong didn't have it. And these guys fought 15 rounds. Roberto Duran didn't have it. You know, Marvelous Marvin Hagler didn't have it. Everything, back in the old days, the boxing teacher, he was the teacher, the trainer, the strategist, the conditioner, the corner man, sometimes even the cut man, you know, and he did it all. He was like the all-purpose man, you know. Now you got guys that want to specialize. I'm a pad man. Okay, that's your position in boxing. Okay, no problem. What are you? I'm the conditioning specialist. Okay, that's fine. What are you? I'm the head coach. Okay, I can understand if he wants to be like the general contractor, if you will, and sub it out. But the old-timers did it all. You know what I mean? And you know, today a lot of guys put too much emphasis on strength and conditioning, and they don't put much on sparring. You know, running and sparring is the two best conditioners. Everything else is supplemental. you could get a guy in great shape with just running and sparring. I mean, the old timers, let's look at the gymnasiums they had. They had a heavy bag. They had a medicine ball they used to beat the hell out of you with. They had, you know, skip rope. They had a mirror, the shadow box. There's some videos of Ray Robinson with a double M bag, but not too many. They had wall pulley systems, and they just had a lot of hard conditioning, you know. And them guys was able to go 15 rounds like water.
Do you think that, you know, maybe people have lost that passion for wanting to be a teacher? You know, you mentioned people like being a strength and conditioning coach, but teaching maybe seems to be a lost art. Like Wesley Mozon, for example, a great fighter in his own right, a challenge for the world title. But then, you know, when Dwight Kawhi won a world title, he said, it felt like I won a world title, and it felt just as good. And I find sometimes you don't find trainers who have that same passion for guiding a fighter that maybe we did back in the day.
I could see that, you know, I could definitely see that, but you know, I think that the lack of teaching now is because they don't have nobody to latch on to. Like strength and conditioning, I could go to Toronto University. I mean, I don't know if they could, but and study physical education. I could go to, you know, one of these little trade programs and study personal training programs, or you could go on the correspondence course and they send you like, this is how you do sit-ups, this is how you teach guys how to do this is how you isolate individual muscle groups, this is how you take everything to a full range of motion to maintain muscular elasticity and all that stuff. You can do it, but there's no real textbooks teaching the art and science of boxing. I mean, they got some to show you how to forward jab, right hand, left hook, but the little intricacies of training fighters, you know, it's a lost art. It's a handed down. You know, it's a handed down profession, a skilled craft. And a lot of the old-time teachers just didn't have nobody to latch on.
All right, well, tell us what's next for you and in your camp. Obviously, you're with Sammy. I know you're with Dusty Hernandez as well. Where are people going to see you in corners coming up?
Well, you know, I got Sam Vargas. You know, we're grooming him properly. You know, we're gonna bring him the right route, and then he'll be seen on good network soon. Then I got Dusty Hernandez Harrison. And, man, that kid's special. He's going to be champion of the world. It's only a matter of time. You know, he's a young kid. He's already got almost 30 professional fights. His father's a tremendous trainer, teacher, keeps him in great shape. Them guys come to fight. And, you know, I got a lot of other guys that I shadow train. You know, I help them, and, you know, behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Because it's not about ego. It's a matter of winning. If I can help them out, fine.
But for the time being, I guess people know that they can find you here in Toronto. They can find you at the gym.
You can find me in Toronto at the Hardknocks Boxing Club. I mean, you know, you're interested in training in the old school methods and the art and science of boxing, feel free to hit us up.